Hi guys, I used to ventilating a hairline, and by the time you wig it and you place it on your head, it is looking like a wig. And when I come closer and I can say, oh, this is a wig. Say no more guys, as right here in this video I'll be teaching you how to ventilate a pre-plucked and a much realistic hairline using the best technique. And if this sounds like something you're interested in guys, make sure to watch this video to the end, and I promise to give you the best and a pro tip and technique. So let's dive right into the video. Yeah, so I'm working with this Swiss lace. Yeah, I'm working with this, and this I've drafted out to 6 inches long as well as 5 inches. So this is just like a 6x5 closure, and this is the base, which is 1 inches, which usually ventilate, which is used to cover the back, and that line is the center line where you part your closure into 2. And don't forget, we usually make use of 1 inch for the hairline, and this is 1 inch which we usually leave out for the hairline. Using the tape rule to measure this out, this is the 1 inch. And on this side, for this 1 inch, I'll be dividing this 1 inch into 3 parts. And so what I mean is, looking at this tape rule, we have these lines for the 1 inch. We have these lines. Let's count. We have 1 2 3, one line, 1 2 3, another line, 1 2 3, another line. So I'll be dividing into 1 2 3, which is 1 part, 1 2 3, another part, 1 2 3, another part. So I don't know if you understand. So let's go again. This is 1 inch, like I said. So I'll count 1 2 3, another part, 1 2 3, another part, 1 2 3, another part. So we've divided this 1 inches into 3 parts, 1 2 3, one part, 1 2 3, another part. So that's like saying 0.3, 0.3, and 0.3. And I've used my pencil to mark that out. That point which I've marked out, I'll just take it to the 1 inch on the hairline and mark it out. And this takes us to the division of our 1 inch hairline into 3 lines. And to one, we'll be ventilating 2 to 3 strands, and to the other part, we'll be ventilating 1 to 2 strands of air, and on the other part, we'll be ventilating just 1 strand of air. On this side, just 1 strand of air, and this 1 to 2 strands of air, and on the other side, 2 to 3 strands of hair. Going over to fixing the drafted out pattern on the Canva head, and this my Canva head is a size 22 inch, and this Canva head comes in different sizes. But so I'll be just going ahead with working with my T-pins to secure the Swiss closure on the net, since this is just a tutorial to show you how to ventilate a much realistic hairline without it being plucked. And I'll be working with this ventilating pin as well as this attachment. So going over, I'll just add cream to make sure it's not dry, so when I'm ventilating it doesn't break. Now, so moving over to this, on this part is just ventilating 2 to 3 strands of hair, and I am not going in a particular pattern. So I'm just going in a random pattern where I'm just ventilating on this hole, pick another hole, ventilate on the next. And this is just basically to achieve or imitate a particular hairline. I'm just ventilating, I'm just picking this random hole, then ventilate on this part. Now I'm just working with 2 strands of air. So it's just like you take on one part 2 strands, and you pick on the next one 3. So on this part, I'll just pick 3 strands of air and ventilate. I'll just go to the next hole. So this is just a random ventilation. It's not like you're skipping one hole, ventilating the next one. No, I'll just go to the next hole, a random hole, ventilate on that part. So at this point, you're just trying to like use your eye to just use your eye to like measure out or to check out. You're just trying to fill a line. You're like leaving some space. It's just like saying you're leaving 2 holes and ventilating in between. So at this point, I am not going in a particular pattern. So I'll just move to this next hole, a random hole, and ventilate on it. I usually call this the random pattern. I'll ventilate on this next one. I'll ventilate 3 strands of air, and I'll just knot. Now I just decided to change it to a double split knotting. So, and I just like this double split knotting for me because it gives a fuller look and a much realistic look, and the knots are much tight and much secure. So you could use a single knotting or a double split. So now I've moved to double split, so I'm still working with 2 to 3 strands of hair. On some part I can take 2 strands, and the next one is 3 strands, 2 strands, and the next strand is 3 strands. So now I've made use of 3 strands, and on this one now I'm just ventilating 2 strands of hair. All you just need to do is you're just taking or filling the holes randomly. Or I could as well drop another tutorial on how to still go with a particular pattern and it will still give you this look, but I usually like this because it just gives you a much realistic look. So you're making sure you're not filling the holes too much, you're just leaving space, because, and this is based on preference or how scanty you want your hairline to look. If you want your hairline to be more scanty and achieve a much realistic hairline, you can as well just make sure you are leaving much holes, you are leaving much spacing, let's say that. So it is much spacing. So this is just a random, and on this first line, don't forget you're working with only 2 to 3 strands of hair. Make sure it is just 2 to 3 strands of hair, but more of 2 strands of hair. So it's just like, okay, or when you want to fill 3 holes, you're taking first one 2 strands, then the next is 3 strands, 2 strands, then the next is 3 strands. So now this is what it looks like. This is where I'm ventilating 2 to 3 strands of hair. So I'm moving to just 2 strands of hair, 1 to 2 strands. So on this part I'm ventilating, I will take 2 strands of hair first, I would ventilate, and this is double split knotting. I'll just ventilate this, then move to another hole, ventilate another 2 strands of hair. No, okay, I took just 1 strand, so this is 1 strand, and I'll knot well. I just move to a next hole, and on this next hole I will just go in with another 1 strand of hair. So it's just like 1 strand, 2 strands, 1 strand, 2 strands. Like you're just going randomly, but make sure you're working with just 1 and 2 strands of hair, or you can as well just balance it, but make sure you're not going in with 3 strands of hair. From this point now I'm taking another 2 strands of hair, and on this side now I'm still going with 2 strands of hair, and I'm still going on with my double split knotting. So this is just a random way of ventilating the hairline, and just if you watch me closely, there is no particular pattern. All you just need to do is just use your perception to feel like, oh, I think I don't want it this spacious, let me leave this hole, let me go to the next. So it's not like you're skipping one hole and ventilating the next. So now I'm done with ventilating the 1 to 2 strands of hair, and this is what it looks like on that part. And this is just to achieve a pre-plucked hairline and to give you something realistic. So on this next one, just going with just only 1 strand. Everything on this part is just 1 strand. And you know, this is, if you watch the normal human scalp, towards as you approach the front, it becomes more scanty. So that is the technique that is behind this. That is why at the first 1 inch is 2 to 3 strands, at the other side is 1 to 2, and at the front line is just 1 inch, because just like the human scalp, as it approaches the front, it becomes more scanty. So don't forget, nowadays wig, the aim of a wig is to imitate hair scalp or a hairline. So just keep going in with just 1 strand of hair. In this you could do a double split knotting, a single split knotting, a double knotting, whichever knotting you want to do. But I usually like a double split knotting because it gives you a fuller density, a more stronger knot, and you can easily bleach it, and it is also much realistic. So still going in with just 1 strand of hair. So whether it's a frontal or a closure, this method applies to the both hairlines, either for a frontal hairline or a closure hairline. So at this point you're just going with 1 strand of hair, and you're consistent with 1 strand of hair. After you're done ventilating your 1 strand of hair, this is what it should look like, and this is what mine look like. Yours can be scanty than this. This is based on preference. So let's take away the paper and just let it be directly on the Canva head. So I'm just trying to give you a direct look on the Canva head as to what it looks like. So this is what it would look like. Can't you see? This is already given hairline and a realistic one. So you can see this is a double split knot, and you can see how full it is, or the fuller density it has given as compared to when you use a single knotting, because both hairs are moving in different directions, and it will help to give you a much realistic look. And this is what it will look like. And yeah, videos, and this is a closure with the hairline of that particular pattern or method which I spoke about, 2 to 3 strands, 2 strands and 1 strand. This is what it looks like when I use that method. This is the hairline, and this is also different wigs and frontal which I made using that particular method. Thank you for watching this video to the end, as we've come to the end of this video, and I'm pretty sure by now you know how to ventilate a much realistic and a pre-plucked hairline. I still remain your fashion, beauty and DIY channel. Love you all.